Nobody expects to wake up and say their family was attacked over a gate latch. Yet here I am, Ethan Caldwell, 42, staring at the fallout of 3 strangers storming my land, one of them striking my wife, Sarah, over a so-called HOA gate code violation. I called it an invasion. The only thing cemented that day was a boundary they never should have tested. Let's rewind to the start. Drop a comment. Where are you reading this from? Some moments gut you so deep your heart forgets to beat. That's what hit me when 2 HOA enforcers barged through our farm gate and one clocked Sarah in the jaw. I stood 15 feet off, coffee mug slipping, frozen. It began with Sarah's voice, sharp, steady, like a blade held low. "You can't set foot here without a warrant." I was fiddling with a cracked fence post, barely listening. The coffee was cold. Dawn hadn't even broken fully. Then I saw them. 2 guys, mirrored shades, polos stretched tight, arrogance dripping like sweat. One clutched a clipboard. The other radiated menace, fists twitching like they were itching to swing. "We're here to enforce compliance," the shorter one barked, tapping a cheap badge like it meant power. Sarah shot back. "You're hassling us over a gate latch?" Her stance was iron, boots rooted, hands on hips, ponytail taut, no hint of fear. The taller one stepped closer, gravel crunching, palms open but coiled. "Last chance, lady," he growled. Sarah didn't flinch. "I'm not fighting you," she said, "just calling you out." No warning, no pause, just a brutal fist to her cheek. The crack echoed louder than the morning breeze. Sarah spun, hit the dirt hard, like her strings were cut. I dropped my mug, ran, but it was done. Blood streaked her lip, one eye dazed, gravel stuck to her raw palm. She didn't cry. That silence hit harder than the punch. "She got aggressive," the tall one said, voice flat as pavement. "I used necessary force." "Necessary," I whispered, too soft, too late. My fists balled, knees bent, but my body locked. My chest tightened, pulse thundering. I wanted to charge, but my mind slipped elsewhere. Age 10, kitchen floor cold. Mom's voice trembling as Dad's shadow loomed. Burnt toast lingered in the air. His quiet rage was worse than a raised hand. I froze then, too. Some habits die hard. Sarah sat up, slow, deliberate. "You saw it," she said, voice cracking like dry wood. I nodded, mute. "So why didn't you stop it?" Her words sliced deeper than the blow. I had no answer. Truth was uglier than silence. Then, from across the fence, "Hold up, you're punching people over paperwork?" It was Jasper, my neighbor, 55, chaos magnet, part-time conspiracy nut, full-time beekeeper. Shirtless, binoculars dangling, cereal bowl cradled like a pet. He grinned, unbothered. "Sarah, you okay?" Jasper called. She gave a faint nod. "Knew it. Your words always hit harder than fists." The enforcers didn't blink. No apology, no shame. They just turned, climbed into their side-by-side, and rolled off like they delivered a pizza. Then came the SUV, dust swirling, HOA decal glaring. Out stepped Linda, 48, polished to a fault, blonde hair frozen in place. She scanned Sarah in the dirt, me useless, and sighed like we were a spilled latte. "I assume you'll want to complain," Linda said, tapping her phone. "Board's email is in the newsletter. Check spam." She didn't wait for a reply. "Fix the gate and this wouldn't have happened." Jasper muttered, "She makes a dictator look cuddly." Then, louder, "I'll monitor the scanner in case she calls a SWAT team." Linda ignored him, drove off like she had a manicure to catch. Sarah stood, guarded, one arm shielding her ribs, and walked inside. I stepped toward her. She flinched, subtle but sharp, like a knife in my gut. She hugged herself, holding in what little strength remained, and vanished into the house. I stood there, gripping an empty mug, shame burning deeper than anger. That night, sleep didn't come. I sat on the porch, whiskey by my boot, knife in hand, staring at the scuffed gravel where Sarah fell. It looked like a wound on the land, raw and unforgiving. I couldn't look away. Jasper showed up past midnight. 2 beers, ham radio tucked under his arm. Tapped their HOA chatter. He said, "They're calling you a troublemaker. Want the codes?" I didn't answer. He sat, we drank. After a long silence, he said, "It's not the hit that breaks you, it's the one you let land." He left. I stayed until dawn, knife gripped tight, not for violence, but for control. One question echoed, what happens when you fail the one you swore to protect? They walked away like it was nothing, and I let them. No arrests, no headlines, not even a whisper. 2 days later, a kid in a neon vest dropped off a notice. Hand-delivered, no postmark. "Have a nice day," he mumbled, avoiding my eyes. Inside, violation of Section 22B, unauthorized gate modification. Fix the latch or pay $300 in 72 hours. Same gate, same latch, same fury. Sarah read it, set it down like it was fragile, and said nothing. She walked to the kitchen, mechanical, grabbed an ice pack, pressed it to her bruised jaw. I followed, each step feeling like I was the intruder. "Sarah, Don't." She cut me off, voice cold, final. She opened the utensil drawer, moved a fork, closed it, swapped 2 spoons, closed it again. Not angry, not sad, just drifting, like she'd powered down. She sorted the spice rack next, labels aligned, no chaos. The clinking jars screamed louder than any argument. "You hungry?" I asked, desperate for words. "Ate earlier. I didn't see you eat?" She stopped, turned, looked through me. "You missed a lot." That hurt worse than a fist. That night, she took the guest room, door ajar, not welcoming, warning. Linda, meanwhile, was untouchable. She posted an HOA update on Facebook. Operation Community Standards, Q2 Safety Overhaul. All gates, fences, even mailbox colors now required harmony reviews. Daily patrols were green-lit. This wasn't rules, it was a power grab. Next morning, I spotted 2 new enforcers, vests, clipboards, shades. They lingered on the public easement, not crossing our line, just watching, scribbling. One smirked, waved like we were buddies. "Checking gate alignment," he called. "You're cutting it close." "So are you," I shot back. He laughed, jotted something. Jasper called them HOA stormtroopers. They'd find him for visual clutter from his bunker's peephole. "Only thing cluttering this place is Linda's ego," he said, waving the ticket like a badge. That night, I sat in the shed with a flashlight, sifting through every HOA notice we'd ever gotten. I hunted for a flaw, a gap, anything to fight back. Each page felt like a snare, bureaucracy weaponized. Sarah's silence drowned out the fines. She passed the window once, didn't glance in, just walked, arms tight like she was her own anchor. I went inside, found her on the couch, braiding her hair with surgical focus. "I'll fix this," I said. She didn't look up. "No," she said, voice low. "You need to figure out who you are, because I don't recognize you." She clicked the TV volume up 1 notch, conversation over. I stood, staring at her silhouette, wondering how much I'd already lost. Next morning, Jasper rolled up in his camo ATV, drone buzzing like a pissed-off wasp. He carried a jug of murky liquid. "Call it Gutbuster, half tea, half rocket fuel, cleans pipes and soles." He winked. "HOA can't regulate digestion yet." I didn't laugh. Jasper noticed. They find me again, he said. Aggressive mulching. I called it creative landscaping. I sat on the porch, silent. Finally, I asked, you ever lock up? Like when it hits, and you just stand there? He paused, pointed to a dent in his truck. Ex-wife, crowbar, 2010. Missed my head by inches. I dodged, but that split second where I didn't know what I'd do? It sticks. He looked at me. You don't stay stuck, though. That night, another patrol cruised our fence. One guy aimed a flashlight at the gravel. I sat in the dark, unmoving, hand gripping the chair arm until it groaned. The man who froze was still in me, but now he had a shadow, someone sharper, waiting. I thought I was gathering evidence. I was really drawing a line. They crossed it. The next morning, the air felt off, heavy, like before a storm you feel in your bones. I wasn't fixing anything. I was preparing. I was patching a coupe latch, hands busy to keep my mind still, when Jasper waved from his lot like he was signaling a plane. "You got time?" he shouted. "Time for what?" "For proof the HOA's playing dirty." He held up a hard drive like it was holy. "Got something you'll want to see?" We went to his shed, part armory, part tech lab. Canned food labeled by vibe, rage beans, doom corn. A flamethrower made from a leaf blower sat beside a squirrel skull in sunglasses. "Drone caught more than I planned," Jasper said, firing up a laptop plastered with "Ask me about my bunker" stickers. The screen showed Sarah at the gate, defiant, the two enforcers closing in. I was scanning the perimeter when the hit went down. Mike was hot. He tweaked dials like a Cold War spy. Static cleared, and a voice hissed, "Use the wife." "He'll crack." "Always does." My blood stopped. "Play it again," I said. He did. Same words, same venom. My fists tightened until my knuckles popped. Jasper froze the frame on the tall guy, cropped beard, buzzed hair, eyes like ash. "That's Derek Holt," I said, the name tasting like ash and iron. "We served together. Same squad, same hell." Jasper leaned in. "Now he's Linda's muscle?" I nodded. He wasn't the reflective type. I was back in Iraq, sand in my lungs, Derek ignoring orders, firing too fast. 2 civilians down, a man, a girl. He didn't blink. I wrote the report that ended him. Jasper rewound, paused on Derek's face. "So, this isn't about Gates," he said. "It's personal." "A setup," I said, "built for me." "Linda know who she hired?" "She either planned it or didn't care." Derek's frozen smirk taunted me. "He done?" Jasper asked. "Not yet. You freezing again?" I didn't answer fast. "Hope not." Jasper snorted. "Hope's a lousy lock. Try landmines or rabid ferrets." I almost smirked. "Got the footage backed up?" "Cloud, drive, and a flash stick and a taxidermy raccoon named Gus." I didn't go home. I drove to an old dirt road where the sky feels bigger than the fight. Parked, leaned on the hood, tried to breathe. Derek's voice looped. "Use the wife. He'll crack." Was he hunting me, or did Linda dig him up? Did they laugh over drinks about the girl with the shattered doll in her hands? Every HOA fine, every patrol. It wasn't policy. It was a noose, and I'd been slipping it on, guilt by guilt. The house was dark when I got back. Sarah's door was shut, no light. I stood outside, hand raised, wanting to spill it all. Derek, Iraq, the ghosts that followed me home. But how do you admit the danger in your yard was one you dragged in? I lowered my hand, went to the porch. Knife in my lap, whiskey untouched, I watched a side-by-side creep past. No lights. Jasper's drone buzzed overhead, green light winking. My phone pinged, HOA's circling. I didn't reply, just stared at the fence, whispering once, "Not again." They thought they knew my limits. They didn't. They thought my past was leverage, but They forgot what happens when you wake the wrong ghosts. Before a fight, the world holds its breath, air still, birds quiet, like it knows what's next. That's how it felt at dusk. I wasn't on the porch sipping whiskey, I was pacing the fence, no light, just instinct and a sour taste in my mouth. The horses stood rigid, eyes wide, bad sign. I moved low through tall grass, past the grain bins, toward the old water tank, half sunk, rarely checked. Then I saw it. A fresh boot print, deep, sudden. Another mark, a broken twig, wire twisted wrong. I froze, listening. The silence wasn't empty, it was predatory. They were here. I turned, caught a fist to the jaw, stumbled, grabbed the gate to stay up. A second shadow slammed my ribs, breath gone, world spinning. "Evening, soldier," a voice purred. Too calm. Derek Holt stepped into view, casual as a Sunday walk. "No clipboard tonight," I spat, steadying. "Karen says hi," he smirked. My pulse roared, vision tight. The second guy, big black gear, lunged. I dodged, saw brass knuckles glinting. I yanked a loose gate pin, swung it, hit his knee. He grunted, didn't fall. Derek watched, grinning. "You're rusty, Caldwell." I charged, tackled him to the dirt, dust choking us both. We rolled, elbows sharp, my ribs screaming. He kneed my side. I smashed the pin into his hand. He howled. The big guy piled on, dead weight, fist to my skull. Stars burst. Then it hit. Iraq, Derek's voice. They were armed. My scream, "Hold fire." Two bodies dropped, a man, a girl clutching a spoon. My pen shook, writing the report that buried him. My eyes snapped open. Something in me flipped. I twisted, grabbed a jagged gate shard, stabbed the big guy's arm. He roared. I rolled free, drove an elbow into his throat. He collapsed, gasping. Derek bolted. Mistake. I grabbed his collar, yanked him down. We hit hard. I straddled, fist after fist, gate shard slicing, his blood hot on my knuckles. "This what you wanted?" I roared. He didn't answer, just grinned, teeth red. Sarah appeared, barefoot, pale, staring. "That's not the man who stood still," she said, voice hollow. She turned, walked away. That cut deeper than any blow. Derek laughed, coughing. "Told you, you always break." I stood, left him in the mud, limping to the porch. I sank into the chair, staring at my hands. Split, bloody, shaking. These weren't mine, they belonged to someone I'd buried. Sarah's light went out, her door locked. I sat, not knowing if it was her goodbye or a wall. Jasper's drone hummed, red light blinking. He'd seen it all, said nothing. He knew. I wasn't a guardian anymore, maybe something worse. There's a shift when you stop reacting and start scheming. After the fight, after Sarah's look, like I was a stranger, after the blood dried stiff, I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, listening to the wind, to phantom steps on gravel, to paranoia sharpening into focus. By dawn, I wasn't angry or scared, clean, cold, precise. They didn't break me, they just unleashed something I'd kept chained. Now, it was awake, and it wasn't going back to sleep. Back home, the house felt like a stranger's. Sarah's door stayed shut, no light seeping out. I stood there, hand hovering, wanting to confess. Derek, Iraq, the shadows I'd dragged across oceans. But how do you admit the threat in your own dirt was your baggage? I backed off, sat on the porch, knife in hand, whiskey ignored. A side-by-side glided past, no lights, just eyes. Jasper's drone blinked green above. My phone buzzed, HOAs prowling. I didn't answer, just whispered, "Not again." They thought they had my number, knew how far I'd bend. They were dead wrong. They saw my past as a leash, not a blade. Before a fight, the world goes quiet. Wind still, critters hushed like it's bracing. That's how it felt at dusk. I wasn't sipping bourbon, wasn't mending fences. I was stalking the perimeter. No flashlight, just a bad vibe in my gut. The air was heavy, the kind of calm that screams trouble's already here, waiting to show its teeth. The horses stood frozen, ears pinned. Never a good sign. I crept through tall grass, past the feed shed, toward the old cistern, half buried, rarely checked. Then I saw it. A fresh boot track, pressed deep, like someone hit pause mid-step. Another print, a snapped reed, wire kinked wrong. I went still, ears straining. The silence wasn't peaceful. It was hunting silence, the kind that hums with intent. They were on my land. I turned, caught a fist to the chin, world tilting fast. I staggered, grabbed the fence to stay upright. A second shadow slammed my ribs, air gone, pain flaring. "Evening, soldier." Derek's voice, smooth as poison. He stepped out, casual, like he was here for a beer. "No paperwork tonight," I growled, steadying. "Linda sends her best." He smirked. My blood roared, vision sharp. The second guy, huge, black gear, swung. I dodged, glimpsed brass knuckles. I ripped a gate bolt free, swung it, hit his shin. He grunted, didn't drop. Derek just watched, amused. "You've lost your edge, Caldwell," Derek taunted. I charged, drove my shoulder into his gut. We hit the dirt, dust choking, ribs screaming. We rolled, fists flying. I smashed the bolt into his wrist. He yelped. The big guy tackled me, heavy as a truck, fist to my skull. Stars exploded. Then Iraq hit, Derek yelling, "They're armed!" My voice, "Cease fire." A man, a girl, crumpled. My pen shook, writing his discharge. Something in me snapped awake, cold and final. I twisted under the weight, grabbed a splintered gate shard, drove it into the big guy's bicep. He howled. I broke free, slammed an elbow into his windpipe. He dropped, wheezing. Derek ran. Dumb move. I snagged his jacket, yanked him down. We crashed hard. I pinned him, fist, shard, slashing. His blood slick on my hands. "This your plan?" I roared. He grinned, teeth bloody. Sarah appeared, pale, barefoot, staring. "That's not the man who froze," she said, voice dead. She turned, vanished into the dark. Her words burned worse than the knuckles. Derek coughed, laughing. "You always crack, Ethan." I stood, left him spitting dirt, limped to the porch, collapsed. My hands, bloody, trembling, weren't mine. They belonged to a ghost I'd buried. Sarah's light went out, door locked. Jasper's drone blinked red overhead. He'd seen it, said nothing. He knew. I sat, blood drying stiff, wondering if I was still a protector or just a man unmoored, something darker. A man who stops reacting and starts plotting is a dangerous thing. After Sarah's look, like I was a stranger, after the fight, the blood, the adrenaline faded. I didn't sleep. I sat in the dark, wind hissing through pines, gravel crunching under ghost steps, paranoia honing into clarity. By dawn, I wasn't raging or scared, just sharp, surgical. They didn't break me, they cut the brakes. Something old woke up, and it wasn't here to negotiate. It was here to end this. I unrolled old farm maps in the shed, dirt-stained, marked with water lines, fence strengths, blind spots. Once, they were for peace. Planning pastures, not wars. Now, they were a battle grid. I walked the perimeter, stringing steel core wire, rigging bells every 20 feet, bottle caps for soft chimes. Every 50, Jasper's cobbled cameras, drone guts, old phones, pure paranoia. Each step turned the land less home, more fortress. It wasn't just mine anymore. It was me, wired and ready. Jasper rolled up by noon, sensors under one arm, thermos reeking of tar and vengeance. "This looks intense," he said, eyeing the wire web. Hunting tanks or zombie coyotes? Not hunting, I said. Just making sure I know they're coming before they do. He nodded. No jokes. We set 2 more cams on the ridge, buried a shock sensor in a rusted pipe. He handed me a monitor, heat-tuned. Gets sharper the more you distrust, he said. You're basically its soulmate. I grunted, close enough to a laugh. At 2 p.m., a black side-by-side cruised past. Derek rode shotgun, shades on, bruises peeking through. They didn't stop, just crawled, scoping. I stepped into the open, didn't wave, just stared. Derek met my eyes, flashed that Iraq smirk, the one that says, I know your limits. They rolled on. Sarah watched from the porch, face blank, arms crossed, not scared. Worse, distant, like she was measuring if I was still hers or already gone. That night I stocked the shed, water, fuel, radios, dried food, packed tight, labeled for chaos. Plan B, C, D, if the house fell. Jasper helped bolt a steel bar across the shed door, repurposed from an old windmill frame. We wired a laser sensor above, a pressure plate under the east gravel. You're either bunkering up, he said, or prepping for the HOA's apocalypse. Done prepping, I said. Now I'm tuning. He didn't laugh, just tightened the last screw, silent. Jasper looked at me, serious. Promise you're still guarding someone, not just chasing the man you swore you'd never be again. I didn't answer. Truth hits too hard. Sarah found me in the shed, cataloging gear I hadn't touched in years. Knife, radio, gloves, boots with desert dust in the seams. She leaned in the doorway. You planning a war or just surviving one? Ending one, I said. She didn't push, just left, quiet as a stranger. The silence was louder than any fight. Before dusk, I went to the flagpole. The stars and stripes had flown there forever, worn but proud. I lowered it, folded it slow, and raised a black cloth I'd kept since I left the service. No emblem, just shadow, a sign for those who know. Jasper saw it, whistled. That'll make folks Google you. I shaved, patched my cuts, stared in the mirror. No fatigue, just a man done waiting for peace, ready to hunt it. I didn't blink. I sat on the porch, not resting, watching. Jasper swung by at 10:30, 2 beers, a flashlight, a silence that carried weight. What if Derek shows again? He asked. He won't. That's sure. If he does, he's not leaving. Jasper sighed, cracked his knuckles. You used to be subtle scary, now you're just scary. I didn't flinch. Good. He left. I sat, monitor in lap. A red blip, a fox, not a threat. But I didn't relax. Derek was out there, and Linda was plotting. They didn't come at night, too clever. They hit at 4:15 p.m., Wednesday, like it was a routine HOA check. Linda needs daylight, witnesses, control. She doesn't ambush, she dominates. I was in the shed, testing a tripwire, when the monitor hummed. Steady vibration, too heavy for wind. 3 thermal blips, 1 small, 2 big. I tapped Jasper's radio. We're hot. Copy, he crackled. 2 bruisers, 1 clipboard. Linda's here to audit your soul. I stepped outside, calm, ready, letting their boots crunch closer. Derek led, black vest, limp from our last dance. Behind him, a new guy, young, bulky, itching to prove himself. Then Linda, blonde lacquered, polo crisp, sunglasses screaming authority, tablet like a scepter. She stopped short of the gate. Ethan Caldwell, she said, voice clipped. You're violating codes 11A, 15D, and addendum 20G. You're not cops, I said. No, she smiled, but I decide what happens next. Derek scanned the barn, porch, horses, uneasy. Good. The rookie cracked his knuckles, clueless. I let the silence grow. Let the wind tug the tripwire grass. Let the tension fester. Crunch. Derek's boot hit the gatepost. A faint click under the gravel. He didn't hear. I did. Then chaos. Speakers hidden in the brush screamed static. Militia chants, warped siren wails Jasper had ripped from a smuggled Soviet tape. The rookie flinched, hands up. Linda dropped her tablet, dirt cracking its screen. Derek froze, too slow. A net shot up, pulley-rigged, yanking him face-first into the gravel. His knee twisted. He screamed. The rookie charged. Bad call. Jasper's voice boomed, "Heads up!" A bucket launched from the shed loft, slamming the rookie's chest with a wave of fish oil and cayenne. He wailed, slipped, hit a tripwire. Boom. Flash cans erupted. White light, roaring haze. 3 more blasts, staggered, deafening. Linda dropped, hands over ears. Derek writhed, netted. The rookie crawled, soaked in stink. I stepped forward, boots slow, gravel snapping like gunfire. No rush, just certainty. Derek glared, clawing at the net, vest shifting. I pressed my boot to his ribs, pinning him. "You crossed my line," I said. "You set a trap," he spat. "No, I set a limit. You ignored it." Linda staggered up, glasses gone, eyes wild. "This is illegal." "So was hitting my wife." She stumbled back, voice breaking. "This is HOA turf." "Not anymore," I said. "You're on my ground now." She blinked, turned, nearly tripped. The rookie bolted, slipping in fish slime, pure panic. Jasper climbed down, cattle prod in one hand, spark gun in the other. "We good?" "Never better." We watched them scatter, Derek limping, leaning on the rookie. Linda silent, ego bruised, side by side peeling out in a dust storm. Sarah saw it from the kitchen window, hands still, face unreadable. She didn't speak, didn't ask how I rigged it. She just stared at my hands, my boots, the red stains. Paint, oil, sweat, but it looked like blood. Her silence was louder than the flash cans. "You didn't freeze," she said, voice flat. "Number. But you didn't either." She looked at me, searching for the man she knew, finding someone else. She turned, closed the door, not slammed, just shut, like sealing a tomb. I stood, chest tight, not from fear but from truth. What I'd built wasn't vengeance, it was a warning, to them, to me. Linda thought I was trouble. Now she knew I was the consequence. That was her first shot. The next wouldn't be loud. I thought we'd won after the trap, after Linda fled looking like she'd wrestled a catfish in a grease pit. I thought we'd crossed the finish line. Wrong. They weren't running, they were regrouping. The knock came at 6:03 a.m. Jasper stood there, thermos, tablet. A look like he'd seen ghosts in Fallujah. "Trouble," he said, dropping the tablet like it was cursed. "Not just a bad review." He hit play, no words needed. I watched, breath held, heart hammering, knowing it was bad. The footage was grainy, clipped, damning. Derek in the net, Linda shrieking, me looming, boot on his chest, saying, "You crossed the line." No context, no trespass, no Sarah's bruised jaw, just flash cans, chaos, and me, looking like a backwoods warlord, my jaw locked, pulse pounding. "They cut the truth out," I said, "made me the bad guy." "And it's working," Jasper said. He pulled up Facebook, news sites, an HOA blog calling me Farmstead Fury. They weren't fighting, they were framing. 2 hours later, I watched a local news clip on the living room TV. Perky anchor, fake concern. The HOA released footage of a former soldier using excessive force on volunteers. Cut to a blurred neighbor's voice, familiar, twisted. "He seemed normal, but traps like that? He's planning something dark?" By noon, a courier dropped off an envelope. Fancy seal, law firm vibes, Grayson, Holt, and Pierce. I tore it open, read aloud. violation of Code 31D, hostile deterrence, intent to harm HOA staff. The suit demanded $80,000. Civil action, court date stamped hard. I dropped it like it was toxic. "They're trying to ruin me," I said. Jasper stayed quiet, didn't need to speak. We sat on the porch, air heavy. "We could leak the raw footage," he said, "timestamps, all of it." "And when they edit that too," I said, "they control the story." He didn't argue, just sipped his thermos. He wasn't wrong, but neither was I. The game had changed. Sarah came in at dusk, silent, eyes on the TV looping that 5-second clip. Derek down, my boot heavy. "You set that trap," she said. "I protected us." "Did you? Or did you pull them in?" Her voice rose. "They hurt you. And now I'm the villain. And I'm caught between the man who didn't act and the one who planned too well." I had no answer. She stepped back, eyes hard. "You're not the man I married." "Then who am I?" "I don't know," she said, "but you scare me more than they do." She slammed the door, the sound sharper than any punch. I stayed on the porch, no drink, no gun, just me and the road. A car idled half a mile off. Headlights dark, engine soft. It crept forward, stopped. Not HOA, not cops, someone new. I clicked my flashlight. 1, 2, 3. A code Jasper knew. 1 flashback. They were watching. Now I was too. They wanted a frame. I'd take the script. They thought they'd broken me. Linda with her news clips, Derek with his footage, neighbors whispering, media spinning, lawyers circling. They thought they'd made me a joke. But I don't win by swinging back. I win by cutting their strings. I didn't post rants, didn't plead online. I built a case, cold, hard, documented, and I didn't do it alone. Jasper handed me a thumb drive, small as a bullet. "Everything," he said. "Raw files, timelines, 2 audio clips I shouldn't have." I nodded, ready. I sent it to Rachel, Sarah's cousin, 38, a civil rights lawyer who'd gutted corrupt cops and shady developers. We hadn't talked since the wedding. No pleasantries needed, she just said, "Send it." 10 minutes later, a draft complaint landed in my inbox, sharp enough to slice steel. We didn't go viral. We went legal. Filed a countersuit before their HOA hearing. Trespass, impersonating authority, excessive force, defamation via edited video. Drone footage, Sarah's medical report, leaked HOA emails. Someone hated Linda more than me. A week later, I walked into county court. Rachel beside me, clean boots, no words. Linda's team brought 4 lawyers and a pen that wouldn't quit clicking. The judge barely let them talk. He read our file, watched 10 seconds of raw footage, sighed. This shouldn't have escalated. He signed a permanent injunction, restraining orders, cease and desist on all HOA actions. No fines, no patrols, no contact. Linda's face froze, her power crumbling. I didn't smile. This wasn't victory. It was a line drawn. The footage spread like wildfire. Derek trapped, Linda screaming, me standing tall, boot on his chest. No mention of their trespass, Sarah's bruised face, just me cast as a rogue. My pulse pounded, jaw tight. "They gutted the truth," I told Jasper, "turned me into the villain." He nodded, scrolling X posts, local blogs labeling me ranch renegade. "They're not fighting you," he said. "They're staging you. Optics warfare, not fists." I knew the game, but knowing doesn't win it. They held the spotlight for now. By 10 a.m., a news channel ran the clip. Anchor all smiles. HOA footage shows a former soldier using extreme measures against volunteers. A neighbor's voice, distorted, familiar. He seemed stable, but traps like that? He's dangerous. Noon brought a courier with a gold-embossed envelope. Carson, Wells, and Tate. a law firm that billed by the syllable. I read aloud, Code 34, E-violation, aggravated deterrence, malicious intent toward HOA personnel. A $70,000 lawsuit, court date inked like a threat. They wanted me broke, humiliated. I tossed the papers on the table, their weight toxic. "They're burying me," I told Jasper. He sat silent, then said, "We could push raw footage, dates, drone logs." "And let them twist it again," I snapped. "They own the narrative." He didn't argue, just sipped his thermos, eyes steady. He knew I wasn't wrong, but I wasn't right either. Sarah walked in at dusk, saw the TV replaying me over Derek, boot heavy. Her silence was louder than the anchor's polished lies. "You rigged that trap," Sarah said, voice low. "I guarded our land." "Did you? Or did you lure them in?" Her tone sharpened. "They hit you, and now I'm the monster. And I'm trapped between the man who stood still and the one who planned too sharp." I froze. "You're not who I married," she said. "Who am I then?" "Someone who scares me more than they do." She slammed the door, the echo cutting deeper than any legal threat. I stood, gutted. I sat on the porch, no whiskey, no rifle, just me in the dark. A car loomed a half-mile off, engine idling, lights out. It inched forward, stopped. Not HOA, not sheriff, someone new. I flashed my light, 1, 2, 3. Jasper's code. One flash returned. They were watching, but so was I. They thought they'd frame me, make me a cautionary tale. They forgot I don't break, I rewrite. They had the camera, but I'd steal the script. This wasn't over. They thought they'd crushed me. Linda with her sound bites, Derek with his edited clips, neighbors gossiping, news spinning, lawyers pouncing. They thought they'd made me a punchline. Wrong. I didn't tweet, didn't beg. I built a case. Hard evidence, no noise. Jasper slipped me a thumb drive, tiny but heavy. "All of it," he said. "Raw files, coordinates, audio I shouldn't have." I sent it to Rachel, Sarah's cousin, 38, a lawyer who'd gutted crooked officials. No small talk. She just said, "Send it." 15 minutes later, Rachel's email hit. A countersuit draft, lethal as a blade. We didn't leak it online. We went straight to court. Filed before their HOA hearing. Illegal trespass, false authority, assault, defamation via doctored footage. Attached were drone captures, Sarah's ER report, HOA emails someone leaked, dripping with Linda's venom. We didn't need headlines. We had proof. A week later, I walked into court with Rachel, boots polished, mouth shut. Linda's team had 5 lawyers and a nervous tick. The judge barely glanced at their brief. He skimmed our file, watched 8 seconds of unedited drone footage, frowned. "This shouldn't have reached my desk," he said. He signed an injunction, permanent. Restraining orders, no HOA fines, no patrols, no contact. Linda's face went stone, her empire cracked. I didn't gloat. This wasn't a win. It was a boundary, carved in legal ink. They couldn't touch us. Linda knew it. And that knowledge burned hotter than any trap I'd set. 2 days later, Linda quit. Not just the HOA, the whole town. She sold her house, no fanfare, just a moving truck and a for sale sign that fell in the wind. Her last email. "You've made your statement." No, I'd drawn a line and they'd learned not to cross it. Derek vanished, erased from the HOA's site. Jasper called their number. Dead air. "Staffing crisis," he grinned, sipping from a thermos labeled Victory Brew. We didn't celebrate, just exhaled. We dismantled the ranch's defenses, tripwires, speakers, Jasper's Frankencams. The American flag went back up, faded but steady. Normal, but not the same. That night, Jasper joined me on the porch. No tension, just twilight. "You used to hesitate," he said. "Freeze up." "Yeah." Now you're the guy who sets the line and makes damn sure it holds. That a compliment? Just true. We drank, quiet. Sarah came home, paused at the door, watching me, the porch, the flag. She stepped out, sat beside me, not close, not distant, just there. "Do you miss who you were before all this?" she asked. I waited, then said, "No. I think I'm finally who I was meant to be." She didn't argue, didn't walk away. That was enough. I didn't need vengeance, just clarity, not over them, over me. They don't fear me because I fight. They fear me because I stopped fighting and still won. That's the line that holds. The gravel still held the scar of Sarah's fall, half a mile from where Ethan Caldwell, 42, stood on his porch, blood flaking off his knuckles, the night air thick with the hum of Jasper's drone. That ranch, once a haven, became a battlefield when Linda's HOA goons, Derek Holt among them, crossed a line, striking Sarah over a gate latch. Ethan's freeze, rooted in a childhood of cowering under a father's shadow, cost him her trust. But from that dirt, 2 lessons rose, sharp as the knife by his boot. First, hesitation is a thief. It steals what you swore to protect. Ethan's pause, 15 feet from Sarah's crumpled form, let Derek's fist land, her blood staining the gravel. His Iraq ghosts, whispering of a girl with a broken doll, locked his knees. Only when he shed that paralysis, rigging tripwires and flash cans across 50 feet of fence, did he reclaim his ground. You don't wait for permission to guard what's yours. You act, or you lose it. Second, boundaries aren't just lines, they're promises you enforce. Ethan's countersuit, filed with Rachel's legal precision, didn't just stop Linda's $80,000 lawsuit, it buried her empire. The black cloth he raised, 30 feet above the ranch, wasn't surrender, it was a vow. When Derek's smirk faded under Ethan's boot, when Linda fled her own dust cloud, they learned, cross a man's line, and you don't walk away. Ethan didn't need revenge, he needed clarity, a half-mile of wire and will to say, "Not again." That night, Sarah sat beside him, not close, but there. The flag flew again, faded but firm. Some lines hold, not because you fight, but because you never let them break. Have you ever faced a boundary worth fighting for, like Ethan's stand against the HOA? Share your story below. Hit like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more gripping tales and lessons on protecting what matters. Join our community to unlock raw, real stories that inspire action and clarity. Don't miss out on the value waiting for you. Where are you watching from today? Let's connect.